So I know this might sound crazy to some of you guys, but currently right now in the past year, I've actually applied for and gotten 6 credit cards. I got 5 out in front of me right now that I want to talk about. And as crazy as it sounds, I've actually left money on the table in terms of actual free reward bonus money that I've missed out on, but I have been able to capitalize on $400, and I want to show you guys how I did that and how you can even do better than that. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Thomas. In this video, we're talking about credit card churning. What I aim to do here on the channel is talking about carving our own paths to financial freedom. So if that's of interest, jump down quick, subscribe. I'm posting here actually now 4 times per week. It's a new schedule that we're going to be rolling out here on the channel. And what I want to talk about here, guys, is credit card churning. So what we want to do is I want to go through the process of me getting my credit cards, what I got first, and then I want to share with you guys the credit cards that I've gotten, talk about some of the benefits, talk about why I got them, and when I actually got them, how I was able to capitalize on a lot of free money and how you can do the same. And that's actually, in fact, how I would recommend when you start looking for a new card. And at the end, I'm actually going to reveal my favorite card that I've been using the most right now, what I'm going to be using a lot more, as well as an awesome bonus, which is going to help you guys make a few bucks right now. So real quick, why do I do this? Why do I have 6 credit cards? Actually, the 5 that are in front of me right now. Why have I actually applied for those all in the past year? Well, on top of building credit, it's because of credit card bonus offers that a lot of these cards have when you sign up. So what happens when you sign up, for example, like the Chase Freedom or the Chase Freedom Unlimited, when you sign up, you're going to get $200 in bonus credits or in bonus cash back to your account when you spend $500 in the first 90 days. Now, this is a great way for credit card companies to get you in to apply for their card. And these companies, don't get me wrong, they make a ton of money because in all reality, most people, and hopefully you watch this video and you're not like most people, but most people end up in credit card debt. And if you guys ever take a look at the fine print on the actual documents that the credit card companies provide you, that credit card debt or that interest rate that you're paying on the debt or on your balance is ridiculous. And I don't want you to pay that ever in your life. And so the cool thing about these credit card bonuses and all these different things is that if you're going to spend money, and this is the key, this is like one of the biggest keys and the reason why I do this and why I have these cards. I would not have these 5 cards in front of me right now if I didn't need them for a reason. But when you're going to spend money already, if you already have a purchase coming up, it makes sense to apply for a new card as long as your score is high enough, you don't have too many hard pulls in your credit, which I'll talk about here in a second. But as long as your score is high enough and as long as that's in place, it makes sense if you're going to spend, for example, the Chase cards, if you're going to spend $500, if you know you have to buy, a new phone, a new computer, whatever it is, you're going to get $200 in cash back. Like, it's almost a no-brainer. Why wouldn't I apply for the Chase card, get my credit card, put that big expense on the card, cash in off that $500 purchase, get $200 cash back? It's kind of like you're getting a better deal on your computer or what you're already going to pay for in the first place. Now, a bunch of cards are going to have different bonus structures and different things. Of course, it's not going to be the same. For example, my Wells Fargo Propel by American Express, I have to spend $1,500 in the first 3 months to capitalize on a $200 bonus credit. And so that's where kind of things, it becomes tough to do that, especially for someone who's just starting out. But for me, a perfect example, which I'll dive into more, I have an expense, a pretty large expense that's going to exceed $1,500 coming up. And so perfect opportunity. And that's why I just applied for that card and got it. Perfect opportunity for me to apply for this card, get the card, and cash in on that bonus. So what I am saying here is this is a great way to capitalize, a great way to make a few extra bucks or to capitalize on free money, as I like to call it. Of course, there's no free money, but in a sense, I kind of like to think of it as free bonus money or cash back. However you want to think of it that way. But whatever you do, absolutely do not start spending money on things you don't need to buy in the first place. That's completely defeating the purpose of this whole idea and this whole point between credit card churning and even building credit and things like that in the first place. So right now what I want to do is I want to go through my progression. So first I actually applied for a Kohl's card. Now, I'm not really sure if this is the best way to go about it, but that's what I did. Now, what I could have gotten was a secured credit card, for example, by Discover, it's where you go to a bank, you go to a credit card company and say, hey, I'm gonna give you $500 right now, make that my credit line, give me a credit card, and essentially there's no risk to them because you put the money down, and then you start using that credit card a little bit. Eventually they'll refund you that $500, and then your credit line will slowly increase as they see that you're paying your bills on time and things like that, and you're using the card, and you're showing an excellent credit history, at least your time with that company. So I should have done that, but I didn't. I got a Kohl's card, a Kohl's charge card. I guess you can count that as my first credit card. But then after that, shortly after that, I went for the Discover It student credit card. And the reason why I went for this card was because I was a college student, and I currently am still a college student. And in doing so, there's some pretty good benefits with the Discover card. What you're going to get is a cash back match for your first year. So in your first year, whatever cash back you earn, that's unlimited, you're gonna get that matched by Discover. And so it's like 2% cash back plus. The reason why I say plus is because they're gonna give you 1% cash back on everything, and they're gonna have rotating 5% cash back categories. And those categories will rotate. For example, sometimes it's PayPal, sometimes it's grocery stores, sometimes it's gas stations. It's gonna vary, but that's an awesome way. For example, this past summer when I was, I had an internship and I was paying for gas and groceries, I had an awesome combo, which leads me into my second credit card here, which I'll talk about Discover here in a second again. My second credit card was the Chase Freedom credit card, which I have right here. And the Chase Freedom credit card, not the Freedom Unlimited, the Freedom credit card, that was my second credit card. And I'll talk about a little more in depth here as to I already have a Chase bank account. I have a Chase checking account, so I'm already a Chase customer, which does help. I do think that does help in terms of getting the Chase card, because you may have heard, if you're someone who's getting into credit cards, Chase is like the holy grail. If you can get into Chase, it's a great place, and there's a ton of great bonuses as you work your way up. Of course, the Chase Freedom and the Chase Freedom Unlimited are a great start, but there are better cards when it comes to Chase. But pairing my Chase and Discover, those both had rotating 5% categories and 1% on everything else. And so I was like, okay, this is awesome. So right now, this month, for example, I think July or something was, Chase was getting me 5% cash back in grocery stores. Awesome, I was buying my groceries, and Discover was getting me 5% cash back on gas. Boom, I was paying for gas anyway, so it was a win-win. I was getting some significant cash back, and of course, in about a month or so, or in the next couple of weeks actually, it's going to be my first year of having these cards, or at least having the Discover card, and I'm going to get that matched. And so what I'm going to do for you guys, I'm going to link all the cards that I have links to down below as I go through this progression. Of course, there's going to be even more videos I have on the channel reviewing these cards more in depth, so if you want to go to those videos, great. If not, the links down below will be to actually applying for the cards if you want to. And the cool thing about the Discover card is that when you apply for this card and you use the link down below, it's like a refer to the friend link, what you're going to get is you're going to get $50 statement credit, and I'm also going to get $50 statement credit, which is an awesome win-win type of situation. Chase, on the other hand, is going to get that awesome bonus where if you spend $500 on a Chase Freedom or Chase Freedom Unlimited card, when you sign up for those cards, what's going to happen is if you spend $500 in your first 3 months, you're actually going to get a $200 bonus cashback credit, which is awesome. And so shameless plug, link it down below. But those are my first 2 credit cards that I went for. What I will say here is the Discover card, it's a student credit card, so you're not gonna have to worry too much about your credit score. As long as you don't have like a ridiculously low credit score, you're probably going to be okay as long as you're a student and can prove that. Discover is pretty generous in terms of giving out these cards to students. So it's one of the best recommendations if you're someone who's just starting out. I really highly recommend starting with Discover. I've actually just recently purchased some of Discover stock just to kind of support how much I actually am a big fan of Discover as of right now. Chase, the only thing I would say about Chase is if you have a Chase account already, like for example, a savings account or checking account, that's a great foot in the door. If not, I would recommend your credit score to be in the upper 600s, if not 700 plus, before you apply to Chase. So if you don't have a Chase account already, I would aim for that 700. I'm sure I've even done research and seen you can get accepted in the 680s, 670s. Yes, it's possible. I didn't have a 700 plus when I applied for this card, but I already had the Chase account, so that did help me. So the next step here was I then applied for the Fidelity Rewards Visa Signature card. And that's the card that I have right here. And this card, the awesome thing about this was that it actually offered 2% cash back on everything. Now there are some fine print here. I didn't take advantage of any bonus sign-up offers, so there was nothing there when I signed up for this card, and that can change. A lot of these companies will actually change up their offers and things like that. But when I signed up for this card, I already had, again, a Fidelity account. I use that as my IRA, and I have a long-term investing account with Fidelity. So I already had the account, I had money in that account, so I was already a Fidelity customer, and so that helped me. And the thing is, I got the thing in the mail from Fidelity, and the cool part was I had already done the research, and I know, okay, if I can get to an overall all-around card that gets 2% cash back on everything, that's going to be a great all-around card that I can pull out and use at any time. And it's like my go-to card if it's not on a category, for example, that Discover or Chase has 5% cash back, or my other card that I'm going to talk about here in a second. I'll pull out my Fidelity card and I know I'm going to get 2% cash back. But kind of the fine print here with the Fidelity card is that you have to actually redeem that through, actually redeeming it into your Fidelity accounts. So if you don't redeem it through your Fidelity accounts, you actually don't end up getting the full 2% cash back. So what I do for this is I actually make use of it and say, hey, any cash back I get on Fidelity, I put that money into my long-term IRA account. Boom, just like that, saving for retirement. It's a win-win. So that was the third card. And that happened about 6 months into my whole like credit, or probably like 4 or 5 months actually into my whole like credit card like journey. And that's kind of the process we're going on here. The next card I got was actually a business card. It was the American Express Blue Business Cash card, and that's this card that I have right here. I even have a review video on this card as well. I think I have review videos for all these cards now on the channel. And so with this card, the awesome thing about this card, it's 2% cash back on everything. It's no categories. It's very simple, 2% cash back on everything. And the reason why I use this card is, in addition to a lot of the bonuses that you're gonna get with a bunch of other cards, they had an awesome sign-up bonus, which I actually did not take advantage of at the time. I just kind of got the card something premature. But what I'm actually taking advantage of, or I can take advantage of, is the ability for the 0% APR. So with a business credit card, you can almost max it out. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but you can max it out as kind of like a loan or a credit line. And the great thing is that this actually does not report on your credit score. So a couple of key factors for your credit score: utilization. So let's say you have a credit line of $2,000 with a card, or just in general across 2 accounts, $1,000 for 2 different cards. And you have your credit card up to $600 and $600 on both cards. That's a pretty high. That's above 50% utilization. You don't want that. You want to have your utilization below 30%, if you can below 10%, and that's why having a bunch of cards helps you do that. And in doing that, it's going to make your score the highest it can possibly be. Of course, not missing any payments. That's going to be great. No derogatory marks. But utilization was key. And so I was thinking to myself at the time, this is actually a couple months ago, well, how can I start to get somewhat of a loan, or be able to like loan myself money and be able to use that money for things that I'm working on and things that I need it for, business expenses, and not have to pay interest on that money initially. And so that came this card. And the great thing is that when you have a business credit card, it's not going to actually report on your actual personal credit score. So you can have a high utilization where that utilization won't actually count towards your personal score. So my high utilization on this card, if I were to max this card out, wouldn't actually matter, and it wouldn't affect my personal score. And so that's why I have this one in my back pocket, as well as also kind of putting more business expenses on there. So if I want to buy a drone, if I want to buy a new camera, if I want to buy a new microphone, I'll put everything on this card, and it makes it so much easier come tax time. So it's like, okay, all my business related expenses are already on this card. I'm earning 2% cash back, and it makes things so much easier. I don't have to go back through all the other cards and find the expenses and stuff. It just makes things a lot more streamlined for me. So now came the next card here, was the Wells Fargo Propel card here by American Express. And this card is more of a travel card. So if you're someone who's just trying to get into travel rewards, and you're someone who doesn't want to pay an annual fee, for example, also to note, all these cards have no annual fees, which is absolutely huge. I don't recommend paying an annual fee unless you're more advanced or someone who's spending a lot of money. You're taking advantage of a lot of the different things the card is going to come with. For example, some of the higher up Chase cards, some of the higher up American Express cards. Those cards are going to have annual fees, and it's so worth it if you're someone who's going to utilize and take advantage of everything the card has to offer. But if you're not, then don't worry about it. It's not worth your time paying the annual fee. Start off with cards that have no annual fee. But the cool thing about this card is this is where I add up that $400, and at the time you're seeing this video, I would have actually just booked my flight. And so I'm actually booking a pretty expensive flight come May time period. And so with this card, I was looking for a travel card. And so I thought, like, I was doing some research and I was finding some travel cards, and for, the $0 annual fee, and it actually has some awesome rewards. So for example, when I spend $1,500, I'm gonna get $200 cash back. So that's where I get $200 there. I also capitalize on the Chase Freedom $200 that I capitalize on. That's where the $400 comes from. I did miss out on the American Express business card at the time. I didn't have to spend as much money as I needed to get that bonus. But of course, you can do that, or you can look to other cards if you want to get those bonuses. This is just what I have done. And the awesome thing about this card is that on flights, you're gonna get 3 times the points. You're gonna get like 3 times the points on different if you want to book Airbnbs, hotels, ride shares. If you're gonna order food, all those things are 3x points. So travel related things, pretty much all those things are gonna be 3x points, which is essentially 3% cash back on this card. And so that was a win-win. So all in all, I was able to cash in this past year, not in just about a year of now getting these credit cards, $400 in free money. And of course, I've made so much more in terms of cash back. Discover I'm going to have about $150 cash back match, because that's how much I earned over the past year, on top of additional referrals from these cards, which I also would count as free statement credits. The American Express, I've earned some referral credit. Discover, I've earned a bunch of referral credits from a simple video that I made reviewing the card. And so all in all, getting these credit cards has been an amazing thing in this past year. With all these cards, I would have to say within the past year, in terms of cash back and bonuses, I've probably been able to pocket or put net in my pocket $1,000 more than I would have had I not used these cards or not gone for credit cards at all. So again, links to any of these cards that I mentioned here in this video that I have links to will be down below. I also want to recommend a bunch of videos, which I will put the links to those videos down in the description box below as well, to the reviews of all these cards individually, going more in depth, although I did give you guys a great idea on the surface. And again, what I will want to reiterate here, when it comes to credit cards, don't be the person who starts taking out credit cards just to be that guy to take out credit cards. When you open a new credit card, make sure if you're looking to capitalize on that opening bonus, that account opening bonus, make sure you have an expense coming up that actually warrants you getting that bonus. Don't start spending money on those things because you don't need them. And if you do have some parents that are willing to, to use the card, or you willing to buy some things for them and then Venmoing you or giving you cash, that's also a great way. So for example, the Discover card, when I first got this, my parents were actually, I was actually lucky enough to have my parents, get to the point where they said, hey, go buy the groceries, we'll Venmo you. And so I was getting 5% cash back on grocery stores. So that was an awesome way to earn a couple extra bucks with my card and start utilizing the card initially. So if you have that ability, I would highly recommend taking advantage of it. With that being said, there's one more thing I want to mention. I have 2 links down below to get some free stocks on Weeble and Robinhood. Sign up for your account, get your account set up and everything. You're going to get 2 free stocks when you deposit $100 into that account on Weeble, 1 free stock for just signing up, and Robinhood as well, 1 free stock for just signing up. So if you want to take advantage of some awesome ways to get a couple free bucks, you can of course cash those things out and pull it out into your bank account. That's an awesome idea for you guys. With that being said, make sure you are subscribed here and like this video if you're still here, guys. Why wouldn't you like it? It's awesome. Hopefully this provides you guys some value and some information. Check out these videos right over here, and I will see you guys in the next video.